Hello, welcome to Mad EV. Today is a special edition because I'm a watch lover, so every year I come to Watches and Wonders in Switzerland. And this year, when I'm living in this Airbnb, I found the householder. He's a Tesla user because in Switzerland on the street there's not so much Tesla as in China, like in Shanghai. So I'm very interested how he used the Tesla here and what is the experience. So let's welcome our householder, also a Tesla Model Y driver, Igor. Welcome.
Yes, nice to meet you too, and to share a few words with you.
I heard that you are a Tesla fan, so you used Tesla for many years.
Yes, so my first Tesla was a Model 3 Tesla, and then I upgraded it to a Model Y, and I have to say that it's quite nice.
Here in Switzerland, I also traveled many places. I think it's not so much EVs like in China or in American.
Maybe this is explained by the taxes, because Switzerland are not producing electric cars, so they have to buy it from other countries.
Yes.
So this is why the transportation adds to the cost, and the taxes. It makes it more difficult to implement it.
Talk about the tax. What's the price of your car?
So my car, Model Y, was 74, something like that, 74,000 Swiss francs.
Swiss francs. Oh, that's.
This was in the middle category of the prices. It is a very good car for that price, because if you are taking the competitors like Mercedes, Audi, Volvo, French brands, you have to pay more to have the same capabilities as Tesla. For other manufacturers, like European manufacturers, the price maybe is a little less, but you don't have near that the same range, and even the space inside, the power of the car, the motors. So this is why I think buy a Tesla, you have the best experience, the most technical advances, but for a very good price.
So how's the use experience in Europe by EV? Because in Switzerland the winter is very cold.
Yeah.
And your range will get shorter.
Well, this impacts, of course, the range a bit. When it's snowing, this impacts the range. But I have to say that it's not as dramatic as many ICE cars owners are imagining. Because if you have the long range like me in a Tesla, you have enough to reach 400 kilometers and also have all the air conditioning or the heating you need. So here in Switzerland we have a lot of mountains. So here I use always my Tesla in the mountains too. And when you buy a long range, you buy it also two models, in front and at the rear. And it works perfectly. I never had problems with the range, because here in Switzerland you have every 50 kilometers a supercharger location. I traveled also Europe, and sometimes it's more handy to use a charger from another brand. But it never works as well as Tesla chargers, because the Tesla chargers, first of all, when you arrive, you don't have to use any card or any app. You just park next to the charger, supercharger, and then plug it in, and that's it. You pay that at the end of the month. You don't have to worry about anything else. But also the biggest problem I noticed with other brands, when you arrive, half of them are not working. Sometimes
there's some problem also in China.
It's either the card doesn't work, you cannot pay. So this is why it's not charging. Sometimes there is an issue with the charger itself. You never know what's not functioning, but with Tesla superchargers, if one charger doesn't work, well, you just have to park to another one, which happened only once in my life. The rest of the time it works perfectly. This is my best experience with Tesla, is that the charging network is the best still here in Europe.
I also have another question. Do you have the Autopilot?
Well, I use it very often on the highway. Because, well, on long distances, it helps. You are not so tired when you're driving. And also, it helps, prevent some kind of maybe accidents, or it warns you,
Yes.
lets you know that something is in front, and you are paying more attention to that.
Yes.
So, you know. But here in Europe, as you know, apart from the highways, the roads are quite
narrow.
narrow.
Yes.
And I have tried a few times to switch it on. It's not always working. It's nice to see how technology advances every year, but it's not useful on the daily basis, you know.
Okay. And I'm also curious, when you choose to buy an EV, is that because it's a Tesla you buy it, or is it because it's an EV you choose different EV brand and compare with a different product and you choose Tesla?
Well, yes, it's a good question. And I was comparing, of course. Before Elon Musk, I was kind of in the technology, interested in technology.
Yeah.
What disappointed me is that every time a brand was declaring to the world that we are going to build an electric car, in 2 years we will have it on the market and you will be able to use it.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened, you know. And you couldn't buy a nice looking car, either all ugly or not functional, you know. So then when Tesla arrived, it was a sport car and it was nice looking and it was very performant. And that I understood that maybe this guy will make it happen. So this is why I started to follow it. And then at the university, I was starting to see clients coming with the Model S. It was also quite strange inside because, as you know, big screen inside, all that stuff. But outside, it was very nice looking car, very comfortable, very quiet, and also very powerful. I was seeing the progress of the brand, and I understood that this brand is worthy of trust, and you could see that it's not going to disappear in 1 or 2 years.
Yes, some disappear
and this was,
in China.
Yes, exactly. As I was also more focused on the eco-friendliness, but also I didn't want to give up on the comfort or on the beautiful things we can have in this life. So this is why I thought a gasoline car, it's not as exciting for me as an electric car. You have all the comfort, but without pollution.
Have you compared with another ICE car like a Volkswagen Tiguan, this kind of size? It's cost more or less?
Well, what I have noticed is if I was using with electricity from my home, it was 4 times less expensive to drive
it's only
Tesla.
20% as you use diesel.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I also travel a lot. Here in Europe, they were promoting the electric cars. So many hotels, if you have the room there booked and you have an electric car, sometimes you will have it for free. Sometimes, for example, you will pay only 7 Swiss francs for the full battery to recharge, which is very nice, and also even less than recharging at home. Sometimes you would have to recharge it on the superchargers. It will be slightly more than at home, maybe twice as much at home, but it's still very affordable comparing to diesel cars or gasoline cars.
I know there's lots of people, I think 3 or 5 years ago, they have the range worry. Do you still worry about it?
Well, I traveled all the Europe with these cars. Even I went from Switzerland to the end of Portugal. Also on the other way, 2,000 kilometers on that side. And I never had some problems except on the eastern part of the Europe. I was just choosing the hotels with recharging stations.
Do you have some complaint or dislike of this car? Or
well, as every car, maybe it has small issues, but it's just a matter of preferences. Many people said that you have problems with the paint. I didn't notice. I didn't have problems with that. Sometimes, this was with my first Model 3, the screen would stop working. Not even the speed you are driving. So then I called the assistants. They just told me to push the 2 buttons on the wheels. You restart it, everything starts to work. And
just like your cell phone. I also have a question. Do you have some knowledge of the Chinese new EVs?
Yeah, because I sometimes also watch videos on YouTube. The YouTubers from the eastern countries of Europe.
Okay.
Also including Russia, Ukraine, you know, they like to talk about Chinese cars. They now say that all the market was flooded by electric cars from China.
Yeah.
Because I don't plan to change it in the 2-3 years time from here.
Yes.
I'm not spending a lot of time for that, but I know, there are a few quite good cars, and they say they are comfortable. Many people are quite impressed when you see the car, the quality, and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you for this. Yes,
it was a pleasure, and
Yes.
it was nice to meet you again. And
thank you for this house. It's very beautiful, clean, and with a good garden with the flowers.
I'm happy you liked it.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I will be glad to see you again.